This is like gonna be like a TLDR from top 10, top 20 Lancemasters Glaiviers from Korea. You could take their advice or not, it's okay, but the first thing I want to start with is this is a Pinnacle build. Some of the top players do not recommend control and they don't really go into detail, but to give you a very quick rundown, we don't recommend control because you're not gonna have enough crits coming from like the back attack tier set, which is a relic grade tier set we get from Valtan and Vicus. So we're not gonna get that. Also, you have to back attack, going Master of Ambush, added pressure. I don't know if you guys mouse over your skills, but these red skills are also back attack. But then these, for now, are guaranteed to crit. They're guaranteed to crit due to the tripods. So they don't really benefit from back attacks as much. Why? Because they're guaranteed to crit, and back attacking gives you 10% crit bonus. But since they're guaranteed to crit, you guys get what I mean. But you still get that 5% damage bonus. Alright? But you don't benefit it as much as the blue stance class engraving control. Alright? Now, if you want to play control because it's fun for you, you don't want to stance, you just want to stay blue, you don't want to press 2 extra red buttons, and blue is just fun for you, hey, play control. You do you. But for the gear level we're at, for the gear that we have access to, we recommend Pinnacle. Really, really good. These bonuses are really, really strong. The class engraving is just so strong for normalized content. Weekly challenge abyss and weekly guardians. They are normalized. We don't have them yet, but I think the guardians are coming in May, right? According to the roadmap. So Glaivier is gonna do really well there due to this class engraving. Now, once again, the content is really easy. You don't really need to be a Glaivier to conquer the content. You'll be fine. Other classes are viable as well. So it's, yeah, TLDR, just Pinnacle is great, okay? Pinnacle is really, really well rounded. Very balanced class. Okay, some people come in my chat, ask why I'm not like getting crazy numbers. Because she's a well-balanced class. She's getting a couple buffs, and she's going to get a counter attack in the red stance with the next balance patch. We don't have it just yet, okay? So anyways, this is a Pinnacle guide. That was a very long intro. Beautiful thing about Pinnacle is that it scales pretty well. It's well balanced, pretty strong in the early game, okay? And you don't need a lot of skill points. There's a lot of diversity as well. If you look at the top rankers, no two Glaiviers have the same exact builds and runes, okay? The runes, they pick a lot of different runes. The thing about Pinnacle is that you need the crucial skills. So 2 in red. Most will tell you to play 2 red, 5 blue. But you don't have to go 5 blue. You could go 4 blue, 3 blue, depending on your skill points, okay? But 2 are recommended. And what are those called? Let me see. Let me pull out the English website. Starfall Pounds is recommended, as well as Red Dragon's Horn. Oh, these names, man. Alright, so these are pretty much bread and butter. Alright, and then for the tripods, you want to go 1, 3, 1. Some people go 2, but most top rankers go 1. And for this one, the Dragon's Horn, these names, you want to go 3, 3, 1. The ones I have at 5 means they're high priority. Okay? I prioritize these first. But also in the blue stance, I prioritized this and this skill. What is this thing called? Fucking names, man. Raging Dragon Slash. Okay, Raging Dragon Slash. I prioritized this one, but cooldown reduction is nice, but not that, you don't need it that much. And this one, what is this guy's name? Half Moon Slash. All right, I prioritized this one. This one. And if you like the tornado, you could use the tornado one, but this one does more DPS, but you do move. Okay, you do move, right? Yeah, on a certain fight you don't want to be moving, and you just want to be standing still because there are like fire and stuff all around you. Then you could go with this. It's preference, but this does more DPS. You just need to know that. And one thing about this skill is you don't want to use this coming into blue stance. So let's stance. You have no energy. And you don't want to be opening with this. You want to open with like the crit debuff, the synergy skill, the party synergy skill. Build some energy, class identity, and then lastly use S. This half moon slash. And then by then it will fill up. and you stance. Alright? We'll talk about the rotation later. So those are the 2 damage in red, 2 damage in blue that are pretty much mandatory. And your synergy skill is going to be this one. What is this one called? Shackling Blue Dragon. Okay, cooldown reduction is pretty important to have a high uptime. So I gave high priority for this one. That's why I have it level 5. And right here, that gives you additional crits. So this one's really, really big right there. Yeah, 18% crit for your party members. Not raid members, party members. Okay. Other than that, from like the top ranking Lance Masters, Glaiviers, you can go with this one. You don't have to. It's preference. You can go with... A lot of them go with this one. I saw some with like a Stampeding Slash. But mostly they go with like Chain Slash. Which one is... This is the Chain Slash. Okay? Or they go with... Wheel of Blades. Wheel of Blades. The more popular ones are Wheel of Blades. And then second most popular was this one. Okay? It's close. Chain Slash. And an outlier was this one. Okay? Stampeding Slash. So it's preference. It's very... That's the beauty of Lance Master or Glaivier. Okay? Because the beauty of Glaivier is that you can just... You can pretty much customize it the way you want it. As for other convenient skills, like Bolt is the counter skill. Okay, counter skill. I put 4 points into there, so I can move forward. And this one is a movement skill. I put 4 points into there for movement purposes, defensive, offensive movement. Also this one, if you don't have the skill points, you could get it to level 4 and put it into this running man right here for more movement. I'll show you guys that right now, actually. So what you could do is, do you guys know about the double jump? So what you could do is, you could double jump with this skill at level 4. You could double jump like that, right? So you cover more distance. This is also a movement skill, right? Gap closers. Distancers, gap closers. So you could do double jump. Goes half across the map. This one as well. Alright? That's for the counter. We put 4 points in there. So you could do that. You could free this one up and go 10 points into here. Alright? And then you can use this as a gap closer. It's great. A unique thing about Glaivier is this broken skill right here. This is, I guess there's like 10 different terms. People call it parry. People call it a counter or reflect, spread reflect, whatever. So for 1 second, you create a shield. And if you get hit, you hit the mob back. And you also gain class identity. That's how it pretty much works. With the tripod here, you can also gain couple seconds or point seconds. Alright. Now, if you don't know how to use this correctly, it's okay. It'll take some time. You don't have to master it day one. If you don't really use it into your rotation, it's okay. Just know that it exists and it's great. And as you do the Legion Commander raids and as you get more familiar with the patterns, you'll be able to utilize this, all right, to your advantage to squeeze a little bit more out of your DPS. As for runes, if you don't have Conviction and Judgment, you can just put Gale Wind up there. But I put this one, which is the Stagger. Some people put the Stagger one on this, or they put the Stagger one on this. It's up to you guys, once again, where you put the Stagger. If you're having mana issues because your combat level is low, so your max mana is going to be lower, then you can put the mana rune on this one. Okay? Yeah, but as you level up your character, you're going to have less and less mana issues. And once we get into the Relic tier set, we're going to have a mana tier set that helps us out as well. But we might transition into the crit tier set. Things are getting tested because there's a new balance patch. But yeah, mana issues will go away. For these, I just go with Gale Wind. Some put like Wealth Rune. Even rankers put Wealth Rune, but you don't have to do that. This is going to be my filler right here, level 1. I put the Bleed Rune right there because it's just added extra DPS. But yeah, you don't need Wealth Rune because we get class identity from specialization. But some people are just slapping one because they have a, you know, it's a legendary Wealth Rune, so they just slapped it on. So it's, yeah, there's a lot of like leeway here. As for the gems, it's really straightforward. All the rankers pretty much agree. For the Half Moon Slash, you want cooldown and damage. And as for this one, Raging Dragon Slash, you want cooldown and damage. You want cooldown reduction for the crit debuffer, the party synergy skill, which is the Shackling Brew Dragon. And you don't need cooldown for this right here, Starfall Pounce. And you want to get cooldown and damage for these freaking names. I'm looking at the other monitor for the names. Red Dragon's Horn. Alright, so these are the cookie cutter. And then you can get the gems for the other skills that you put points into. So I have the cooldown damage for Chain Slash. And I'm going to put a damage gem for, what is it? The Wheel of Blades. I'm not going to put cooldown on the Wheel of Blades because I don't need to sit there and do the 5 skills. I might sometimes, but I usually do 3 skills or 4 skills and then stance to red. Now, if you want to play 3 red, that's fine too, but you'll be in more locked into position and animation. So if you want to go 3 red, what they do is either 4-headed dragon or the Thrust of Destruction. But Thrust of Destruction, once again, will park you into place. Argos Gear, you want the crit damage one. Crit damage. In the current state of the game, crit damage. I've also asked other Last Master broskies, and it's crit damage instead of crit rate for Pinnacle. As for cards, if you, of course, we're not going to have this just yet. You don't really need the crit set. That's another beautiful thing. So Last Master is really easy to gear and, you know, just get pumping because you don't need crazy cards. We don't have access to crazy cards anyways. So go with the max HP or damage reduced from all sources. Very cheap. As for engravers, the top 3. We're going to go with 3 and then 4 to 5, okay? For the current patch, I want to go full class. Full class is too strong. So you want to go full class and then we're going to go 3, right? Keen Blunt, high crit rate, guaranteed crit in the red stance. Stance dancing to blue, you get crit as well. So Keen Blunt is preferable. And for the third, if you're scared of Grudge, that's okay. But I would get Curse Doll. If you're scared of Curse Doll, then go get Mass Increase. Okay? But 2 that I would lock in is Class 3, Keen Blunt 3, and then third, choose one of these. They all have a downside, right? Potion downside from Curse Doll, damage taken increase from Grudge, and the downside of Mass Increase is that you attack 10% slower. Okay? And we don't have relic tier sets just yet. We don't have supports running around with the relic tier sets that give the party members attack speed as well as movement speed and more and more. We don't have that, so you might feel it, okay? What I would personally do is these 3. Well, honestly, I would go Grudge because I'm not scared of Grudge. I'm used to the Grudge life. But I would go these 3. And then I would add on Grudge. Yeah. And then the 5th one, I would add on the Mass Increase. Alright? That's what I would do. Secondary stats. Okay, so for the stats, we highly recommend, there are 2. There's Specialization and Crit. But we highly recommend, this is including not just myself, but the rankers as well. Specialization with Swiftness. Okay? Yeah. It'll feel more fluid this way with the cooldown reduction, movement speed, and animation speed, attack speed, hold speed. You know what I mean? And as for the ult, we recommend this one. Whatever the da-da-da-da-da. We call it da-da-da-da-da. Okay, one more time about the... let me talk about the Pinnacle Engraving. So when we go from blue stance and we fill up the gauge and we go to red stance, we get the 50% critical hit damage as well as 20% damage as well as 15% movement speed. We fill up the bar and go to blue, we get the 25% crit rate, 15% damage, and attack speed 15%. Alright? Yeah, there's a crit rate coming from here. And we also get crit rate from here. And red stance, due to the tripods, we're guaranteed the crits. Okay? So Keen Blunt will be very, very nice. Now that I got the stance buff, apply this, swing, and then once you have some meter, you apply that. See, you see that? If you have cooldowns running right now, what should you do in blue stance? In blue stance, you should be using another skill or 2. Stance, same thing. Use this, and then use this when you have more identity gauge. Use some of these. Okay, I forgot to change the tripod on that, so that's screwed up. Okay, same thing. Now they're off cooldown. Rotation feels fluid. Use another skill. Wait for the red. Stance. Start with this. Jump in. I'm gonna use W with the bleed rune to fill up the gauge. Stance. Same thing. Use a 4 to 5 blue skills to fill in the gap so that the cooldowns come off cooldown. In terms of rotation, so what I like to do, it doesn't matter what stance you start at, but if you AFK, you get the meter over time. But let's just say you start with red, right? So I start out there safely and then pounce in. The pounce direction you can change midair. So let's say you aim your mouse here, but you could change it midair. Watch. So you could do that. Alright, just know that. You could change directions. So start out there, and then we jump in. Apply the bleed. Stance. Apply the crit, and then ult. Alright. Then after that, you apply those. And then once you have a full meter, near full, you want to do the S ability. Do other abilities, waiting for the red skills to come off cooldown. Same thing. Same thing. Mostly yellow numbers, right? If you're out in range. If you're out in range, you're using this out in range, use this out in range. Pounce into range. Alright. And then, you know, just back. Same thing.